Pay attention, Chris.
Raider Nation! Stop scrolling. The silver and black conversation starts right here. Hot takes, real fans, no filters. This is the show where Raider Nation speaks. So crank it up! And show me your shit!
Hey, we're back at it again, Raider Nation. Another episode of Show Me Your Shield Sundays. This is going to be a regular thing, especially after games, so we can get your takes as to exactly what's going on in Raider Nation. I'm Raiders First Downs, JD. You can call me JD. Raiders First Downs, Jason, whatever makes you comfortable. On my right, my co-host, Donuts Duncan. And down below, we have a special guest from our All Aboard Discord. Talked to him a little while ago, see if he'd come on, be the third member of the panel for tonight. He was more than gracious to come on. Back from Germany, straight back to the Central Valley, California. None other than Chris R., the Meme Lord. What's up, Chris?
Howdy, fellas. Thank you for having me tonight.
Yeah, glad to have you. Glad to have you. Yeah. Yeah. You between you and Darkseid, it's hard to top that. You guys are legit. So, having said that, we're gonna get the ball rolling tonight. You guys saw what happened Thursday night at Arizona. What we've been talking about all preseason, and so on and so forth. We're gonna dive into that a little bit tonight, maybe a whole lot. But first, Duncan, we have chats coming in. And let's roll through it. And I see a particular button on the control panel that needs to be hit. Double check. Can you guys hear this? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear this.
Nope. Cannot hear.
Can't hear that?
No. But we got Rorschach coming in. He was a whole 40 minutes early because we started 10 minutes late. Welcome, Rorschach. Love seeing you here. Got Easy Big Dog coming in saying, howdy, gentlemen. Thoughts on our DC? My personal opinion is it's not the regular season yet, so we don't know what the defense is actually going to look like. That was base cover one defense because they just wanted to see what the cornerbacks could do in man coverage. That was it. That was what Kubiak said, and I believe him. We got Jack. What's up, Raider Nation?
What's up, Jack? Salute, brother.
Rorschach's going to go eat some dinner, but he'll be back right soon.
Cool.
And then we got James Furpo. Raiders! Was that too loud? I feel like
that's for James.
Be too loud.
What's that?
I feel like that can never be too loud.
So you heard the button, right?
No.
You didn't? Oh, okay.
I was reading.
I don't know why it's working. It's
message.
Yeah. I think Easy Big Dog coming in right here. Yeah, thumbs up. Did you hear the soundboard? Because if they're hearing it, we're good.
He might have been agreeing with what I was saying, but going back to his question, just because I quickly answered it and got through the rest of the chats, let's go back to it. Chris, what are your thoughts on our DC?
It's too early to tell, really, and I do agree. This is the first preseason game. They're not going to show their hand for the first preseason game. It's up in the air right now. Obviously, our performance, I wasn't too thrilled with. There are a lot of excuses that could be made. You know, time will tell. But right now, I don't think we're tipping our hand. We're playing base cover one. Wanted to see how certain players did. We got the next game coming up. Let's see if things change.
Yeah. Did you have any opinion on it, Jason, or too early for you as well.
Opinion on the DC? Really, in all honesty, it's not so much the DC, except for he has one job to do in a preseason. The most specific job that he needs to do is get them ready to play and play at a level that is acceptable. Whether it's a vanilla scheme or a complex scheme, it doesn't matter. It's about having the guys ready, what your situational substitutions are going to be, all that yak, get it all out of the way. But at the same time, whenever you strap them up and you're now going to hit a different player in a different color uniform, you think you might ought to make those hits count, right?
Yeah.
Have a little attitude, show a little tenacity. That didn't hear a peep out of it. There's a couple players. I mean, Walker had some good sticks in the hole. Minimal yardage on some of his. Hakeem Massis came up, was being aggressive against the run, but you're asking a 5'10", 50-pound soaking wet cornerback to come up and make NFL tackles like that. Kudos to him. He's not afraid to get his head in there and get a little something out of it. But in the meantime, where's the rest of it? Where's the defensive tackles?
Yep.
I didn't. Other than J.J. Pegues later on in the game, I really did not see a whole lot of push and dominance from the interior defensive line.
I'm going to push back a little bit. As far as the run game goes, I thought the interior D-line did a very good job, especially with the ones. I mean, they were taking on the whole offensive front and allowing Walker to get penetration and getting tackles before the line of scrimmage. So as far as the run game goes on the interior D-line, working with Walker and Dean, that looked great. Mm-hmm. Where was the pass rush? I mean, it was very, I don't know how to word it right now, but it was very lackluster. Mm-hmm. We're back to the same old Raiders of we're getting pressures maybe and no sacks. Still first preseason game, first contact against another team, so it's still too early to say. But if that's what our pass rush is going to be, with or without Maxx, it's looking like same old Raiders defense.
Nah.
Yeah.
Now I do have to throw a bone to Malcolm Koonce a little bit, because he did flash. Obviously he didn't get home, right? But you can really see his power to speed on the outside was more than what we saw last year. Of all last year, you saw it in that game, and it's like, okay, just seeing with him on his pass rush and what he was doing with the pass rush, it's like, okay, if that generates just a little bit more and a little bit more as the season goes on, then I think we're good there with Malcolm Koonce, because I'm not expecting a whole lot out of him. I'm not expecting him to be a 20 sack kind of guy, but at least be that complementary piece that can get a sack, maybe get a drive changing play, to where it changes the other team's offensive drive. Just something to that effect, but you can kind of see it a little bit, and he didn't get a whole lot of playing time as well. Crawford, as the game went on, you started to see him show up a little bit more. Did
anything have to do with the changing of the offensive players playing though? Because that, for me, seeing Sloan, at first it looked like he was kind of getting handled fine by the offensive line. And then they changed their personnel to their threes, and then Cian Sloan started taking off.
Right. So
could that have been a little bit to do with the player you're talking about?
With Koonce?
No, with our third round pick.
With Crawford?
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely could play a part into what we were seeing. But just the mere fact that you can see something, you know what I mean? It wasn't, most definitely, the progression has to be that he's got to rise to the level of the caliber he's playing. That's absolute. There's no disagreement there. But just the mere fact that you could see it, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That there was he was aggressive. He was reestablishing the line of scrimmage on his end, and penetration. And he actually did fairly well on outside contain as well on his side. There was a couple leaky ones. One looked like Love was going to make a house call, but he did his part, and the back end didn't feel like it was supposed to.
Yeah.
So, because sometimes when you're outside to contain, you want to take, your job might be to take on the primary blocker out there and force it back into the middle. And if you do that, you did your job. Now it depends on the other guys to do their job and clean it up.
Yeah. And then also on the run game, the ones did lose outside contain one time, and that was Chen. It was unfortunate it was Chen, just because I've been so high on him, because I really think he had a great season last year, and I was really hoping he could build upon it. Still early, working out the kinks. They're playing cover one. They're probably hardly ever going to play that in an actual game. So things will change. So too early to get upset about it, but there is some stuff that we can see that may be concerning if it continues.
Yeah.
Definitely. Another thing of note too, obviously the cornerback situation, that's something we also have to keep an eye on. So
so Chris, was there anything that really popped that you really liked that you saw? I mean, I think it's enough for now with the negative. Let's get some positive, and then let's see if we can get the chat going. What do you guys like in the chat?
I mean, honestly, like the overwhelming positive is the play of some of our rookies, and I think they were the expected ones. Mendoza, he got off to a rocky start, but once he kind of found his way, he was looking good. Some decisions, rookie mistakes, but there were some really good throws he made. I was really looking at how the wide receivers were doing too, because we got some rookie wide receivers that have been showing promise. I saw a lot of good things from Benson. We'll see if that keeps growing. Obviously, the reports are going around that he's trying to build a connection with Mendoza. So if we can if that relationship grows and it bears fruit, we could have a great quarterback wide receiver pairing there. I loved what I saw from our second-year wide receiver, Besh. He was phenomenal, both in the passing game and in the running game. And it's going to lead to my next player, Mike Washington. That 50-yard run that he made, great. But that O-line play and Besh's blocking, that really sealed that run.
Yeah. I went back and watched that play again, and Mafi, Mafi's block was impressive. He came off that combo block and got to the second level, and thud, it just stopped right there. And then I really, in all honesty, I think if I was inside Mike Washington's helmet, he was like, "Oh crap, this happened quick," and it was on. And really, that was a house call. If it wasn't for the fact that safety had the angle before Washington broke, he played it as perfect as you can at that point of the run. So he was just able to chase him to the boundary and use the boundary to end the play. But for the most part, I said it when we drafted him, and I'll say it again. He is that type at the second level, is going to be dangerous, and don't be surprised if he clicks off a few of those in a game that he's going to stay in the game.
Oh yeah. I honestly felt he should have been the second running back taken off the board. I was a little bit surprised, honestly, when the draft was going around, that Jadarian Price. I have not seen anything from him yet. Did you guys catch him?
Jadarian Price, as far as college goes, before coming out into the draft, like, you didn't see him because he was hurt, and then he was also the backup to Love. So he doesn't have the carries. But to his benefit, sometimes that's a really good thing, because that means his body wasn't too torn up from carrying the ball in college, kind of like Josh Jacobs. Because for however long before Josh Jacobs, how many times did we see Alabama running backs coming into the league that had tons and tons of carries, and then they didn't really do much or last very long in the pros.
Yeah.
So that could be a positive for Price. But as far as Mike Washington goes, he had a few concerning issues on tape, so that's kind of why he dropped. What really helped his where he got drafted at was his combine numbers. He was a workout hero.
And I think he ran a 4.3 flat on the combine.
Yeah, it was a 4.3 something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we saw that right there from that burst run. And, you know, Jason brought up a good point. If that safety did not have the angle, that would have been the home run shot right there.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something to me. It's a bright spot. I think it's the biggest bright spot, especially if you look at how horrendous our running game was last season.
Yeah.
If this is just a glimpse of what we are capable of. Now, again, let's tone it back a little bit. This was probably against some 2s and 3s. You know, probably starting to put in guys who are trying to make the team. But even then, last year, could our ones even make these kind of runs against other opponents' 2s and 3s with the way our system was last year? Honestly,
I don't think they could have done it against a UFL team last year.
no. So this is definitely was a great bright spot. So I don't want to kick up the hopium that this can change things, but there are glimpses there.
Yeah. Well, here's
the biggest thing that I noticed with in context of what Chris is saying is, well, if you go back to the first drive with Kirk Cousins in the game and the run plays that we did run, one of the things that I saw that I didn't see a whole lot of last year were the silver pants. Excuse me. The silver pants and black jerseys on the front were going forward and were 1 and 2 yards opposite of where the line of scrimmage was and not in the backfield on a run play. And then the communication, not just the communication during before the play, but during the play as well. You can tell there was, you can tell, you can't hear it because there's no microphone on down there, but you can tell by the movement of the guards and the centers of who's communicating which direction they need to go. Once, you know what I mean? So like when we played, if I had to block, it was a combo block or a double team block, all I had to say is got it. Mm-hmm. It tells my other guy, got it. And then it tells him that I've got the block, go get somebody else. Right?
Yeah.
So you can tell that was happening as well. That there was a lot of got it's. I got it.
Well,
I got it.
Even comparing it to last year, like last year when they would do the combo blocks and to get into the next level, like there was a lot of pause. It was a lot more fluid this game. Mm-hmm. So like it's maybe even getting to that point of the comfortability, like this is my job, go do it kind of thing. And like they're trusting their partner and maintaining the block that they sealed. So that's going to go a long ways if they can continue that throughout the preseason and then carry it into this regular season. But as for kicking up the hopium, how about going back to Jack Besh? Okay, here's a receiver we had no idea what we had in because of not getting on the field. And then when he was on the field, it was a run play almost every single time until the second half of the season last year.
What about the mud
this last
been thrown at him?
preseason game? He was a hot target, and he's starting to show that he could be that reliable hands, kind of like Renfro. When we need that guaranteed first down, send him to the sticks. He'll contest for it. He'll fight for it. He's not going to burn anybody. He's not going to get a bunch of separation, but he's going to fight for that football, and he'll make those tough catches. And that's something we really need in our receiver corps. And so it's great that we have that so far through one preseason game. And then
Duncan, what's wrong with a possession receiver? Because there's going to be context out there with other people that are going to say he's a second-round pick and all we got was a possession receiver. Is that all? You're okay with the second-rounder being a possession receiver? What's wrong with that?
But what's wrong with it is you're not going to get big plays out of it. That being said, though, you're going to be able to keep the chains moving.
That's a big play.
It's a big play when you need it, yes. Also, it's going to allow you to methodically drive down the field. Like you getting one flash on the pan play on the offense, like that's not buying your defense time. That's not wearing the opposing defense down. Like you being able to check down to a receiver like Besh and get that third down when it's a 3rd and 5 and you absolutely need it. And you start seeing those defensive linemen with their hands on their knees before every play. Like that's what comes of it. That's the importance of a possession receiver.
Yep.
And sure, having a big play receiver is always awesome. You know, definitely the Raiders of old were built on the big play bombs. But having these kind of possession receivers and ripping and tearing the middle of the field, that just pays more dividends than the one quick boom, boom, gone. You know, it keeps their defense on the field. It tires them out. Like, you know, what Duncan said, D linemen, hands on their knees, they're getting burnt out. They're going to have to switch out more. The longer we keep our defense off the field, the better they will be. And that's been a common issue these past few years. Our defense was on the field probably more than our offense because our offense was just horrendous.
But Jack Besh is just a glorified tight end. That's all he is a glorified tight end.
Jack Besh is
and we already got, hold on. We already got Brock Bowers. But what people don't realize, it's okay to have a quality hands guy on the outside as your second or third option in the play, especially with third and short, third to medium, and third and long. He knows where the sticks are, and when the ball is thrown at the sticks, he's going to catch it. He did it last year. Even though he only had 20 catches, out of those 20 catches, I think 13 of them went for first downs. Okay, so if you can triple that output, good God. What's wrong with that? Make it make sense to me, guys. What's wrong with that?
Here's the perfect example of possession versus big play is the Atlanta Falcons versus the Patriots Super Bowl. That Falcons team can make a big play happen at any point in the game. But what did the Patriots offense do? They possessed the ball and kept wearing down the Falcons defense. And then it came to a point where the Falcons defense couldn't stop the Patriots at all. And then the flash on the pan offense, all of a sudden, they weren't moving the ball anymore. They couldn't get their big plays anymore. If you rely on the big play, you're going to be stopped eventually. And that's exactly what happened to the Falcons that game. Is it just took a little bit of time for that Patriots defense to start waking up and stay rested because the Patriots offense could drive the ball. And then all of a sudden, that whole score flipped over.
Yep. So it's just a systematic way of doing things is what it comes down to. And Kubiak's offense is curtailed to that style of football is be systematic. Because if we hang our hat on trying to make the big play or the three-pointer all the time, then you're going to win some and lose some, whereas your percentages are going to go up if you're methodical with your presentation and your execution and allow the long plays to come to you, right? But the Raider mantra is we're going to take what we want, right? And that was good. That was really good until about 35 years ago. People figured that out.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well,
so you can only run 4.3 40 so many times on a 100-yard field before you run out of room. So if you can at least apply pressure, keep the defense, keep the offense honest, and if you want to throw deep balls all the time, fine, we're going to let you do it, and we're going to kill your quarterback. But in a situation like this with the West Coast offense, and this is coming from the Bill Walsh's theory of an application of the West Coast offense is to utilize the whole field, side to side and up and down, right? So there's going to be a time where you're going to make a promise that we're going to take this one deep, but we got to get to this point and this point in the passing game before we take that shot, right? Instead of just coming out first play of the game, 7-step drop, throw it back. I mean, I remember watching Terry Rubisky as our offensive coordinator back in the late 80s, early 90s, in a game. The first 10 plays were nothing but 7-step drops and throw the ball downfield as far as you can. And all's Willie Galt and Mervin Fernandez was doing was running 100-yard sprints. I felt bad for those guys. I thought they were going to have to tap out in the first quarter because that's all they were doing was running gassers and didn't have a quarter. That quarterback could get it to him, not accurately, but he could throw it down there. But, anybody can close their eyes and fling him. Yeah. But getting back to the possession style receiver and with historically in our organization in 1983, which was one of the best teams we ever had to win the Super Bowl, our leading receiver with 83 receptions was Todd Christensen. So there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with what Travis Kelce and Rob Gronkowski and all those guys at tight end. There's nothing wrong with that. If you can catch the ball, if I could throw you the ball and you can catch the ball for a profit, we're going to win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, how many years was it when Tom Brady was with the Patriots? Like, how many years were we sitting there and complaining whenever we watched a Patriots game? Like, man, all they do is the checkdowns. All they do is just get the little dink and dunks. It's like they're taking what the defense gets them, and yet they keep winning. It's like there's a method to it. You're wearing down that defense. You're starting to get those DBs to expect the short pass, so they start jumping it more. And then all of a sudden, you got a little hot route going down the sideline for a big play, or you have a post route trying to split the safeties because they're trying to jump the short routes. Mm-hmm. Like, it opens up the passing game, and just like the running game does. Like, if everything is short, like run game, short pass, that defense is going to start playing up because they want to get off the field. They're tired of it. And then all of a sudden you take your shot, boom, there's your big play. It's all about picking your fights, picking your timing on when to call that stuff. Like, just because we have possession doesn't mean we can't make the big play.
Yep.
And if you rely on the big play, you turn your offense one-dimensional.
Exactly.
It's like, now the DBs can play deep and buy all the time in the world, and that quarterback is throwing 50-50 balls all game long, and then that's where the multiple pick games come from.
Yep.
So, and
you be locked into one idea, one thought process when running that offense, and that's why with Kubiak, and he even said it one of his pressers. I think it was in the last few days he said it, that we're going to get to a point where any part of the offense that we need to utilize to win the game, we're going to be able to do it. And that's the goal.
Yeah.
And definitely, if our run game this year is 10 times better than what it was last year, that's just going to create us more opportunities.
Yeah.
Because then we can run more play actions. They're not going to expect us to drop back in play action. They're going to expect us to hammer down the middle. It's going to create openings for Brock, Tucker, Besh, whoever our wide receivers are, and it's just going to make it better.
Yeah. I think I fixed my Furbo button, just so you know.
You want to try it? Yeah, there you go. That sounded good. Purple saying, can I say it feels great having our own number 15 to look at? You're welcome.
You do kind of got that Mendoza-esque in you.
No, I don't.
The Mandalorian.
No, I'm not even half the dog he is.
Yeah.
People really want to overshadow how much of a tough guy he is, and it kind of pushes my buttons a bit. But
what's that?
He'll show it to us. People want to say he's too nice of a kid. He's not a dog.
He's not a dog.
They completely ignore the plays he was making in the playoffs last year for college. He is a tough son of a gun.
In defense of the person that's
almost decapitated against Ohio State.
Oh yeah,
and comes
first play.
Back 1 or 2 plays later, and then just drives down the field. The guy is tough, and I love it. Yeah. Exactly.
He's a hell of a lot tougher than what people. In all fairness to the gentleman that made that on his podcast, on his show, that made that comment, was before those games were played out. So he was actually He actually stayed because there were people going out there saying that because nobody watched him until the end, and that nobody watched the Penn State game or the UCLA game. The UCLA game, he got hit harder than the Ohio State game.
Yeah.
And it was proof pudding. You go watch the game. They were lighting him up. That was their goal. The only way they knew the only way they were going to beat Indiana or have a chance against Indiana was put the habeas whoop ass on Fernando Mendoza. Got a interception out of it from hitting him and the ball flopping around. But at the same time, we want to talk toughness. Is he bounced back from those? He made the plays. He threw touchdowns.
He came back. Yeah.
Yep.
And if anybody knows anything about Mendoza, it's this guy right here, JP Raider. He's the guy that was in our Discord that told us right when Mendoza transferred, he's like, he's going to be the guy. He may be the first pick overall. Like, that's when we all started watching his Cal film and was like, oh, this guy's legit.
Yeah. He was good at Cal. Didn't think he was going to be this good at Indiana, but he was good at Cal. But you know what? It's all about the RPOs and the back shoulder fades and not being able to read progressions, not able to take snaps from under center. It's just not going to work. He's not worth the number one pick. He's not.
Yeah. Here to talk some shit to James Firpo. Like, you know what I did, James, is I knew we were drafting Mendoza. I ordered a custom jersey before we actually drafted him. So I wore it during the draft. I was celebrating when we drafted him, even though I knew it was coming. But hopefully it gets to you soon, and hopefully you can be rocking it before the games actually start, and that'll be awesome.
I gotta get me a Stabler jersey.
I just stick to Howie Long.
Yeah.
I got 5 of them. I'm going to probably buy 2 more. The only one I don't have of him is the legacy one, or the silver numbers white jersey. Ooh. I don't have that one. That's the one I want. And of course, Jeff is going to probably pop in there. My wife's got one. Yeah, I know. I know.
Well, Jeff's already.
But that's the only one I want. That one, and I'm trying to find his All-Pro jersey that says American on the front. For his Pro Bowl. That's the one I want.
Yeah. Team trade back.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to do next year.
I see it.
I hope not. Well, I guess
I don't either. But
it depends on the situation. But
I'm either or.
James likes the Nike jerseys, and but there we go. This says Nike.
No.
I have a Maxx one with silver numbers and letters, and have that Mendoza coming just like it. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Keep building the collection. We got some great players on our team right now. Mm-hmm. I got a Brock Bowers one that I am too fat to wear now, and then Charles Woodson one that's in the closet. The Charles Woodson one's kind of the older ones, so it's like nice and thick and fits really well. Like kind of fits like an actual football jersey, how it's always too big for you when you're just wearing it without your pads.
Yeah, it's got that stretchy material in it.
A little bit, yeah. But it fits nice and loose, and that's probably one, like if I went to a winter game, I'd definitely be wearing that Charles Woodson one with a long sleeve underneath. But yeah. No, that's awesome, James. Hope you can keep growing your collection, and hopefully it's with a lot of Raiders that are on this roster, because we're turning the ship around. Like ultimately that's what we're hoping for, and that's why we're on here talking and picking the good stuff and the bad stuff and what we want to see, and keep talking about it. I think we did overshadow one player on offense who had his big play in the game, the first touchdown of the game, and that's Michael Mayer. He looked very solid. He had a couple good blocks, and then he had he had 2 receptions, one for the touchdown.
Yeah, and then he had one for on the right side in the flat that he got the first down on. That was a nice play too.
And I would not be surprised if teams can actually slow down Bowers if Michael Mayer is having a big game. Besh and Mayer are going to have big games when we go against teams that can actually slow down Bowers. So be prepared for a lot of short throws, but guess what? If we're able to drive that ball down the field, that's a whole lot more important than one big play.
Yep.
Yeah, let's take baby steps, right? Let's get the consistency down. 5, 6, 8, 10, 12-yard gains in the passing game. We'll worry about the 30 and 40-yard ones later.
Yeah.
They'll come.
Early on the season, it may look like, okay, we get a little drive where we get 2 or 3 first downs and then we punt, and then we're putting them in within their 5-yard line, hopefully. Something Carlson did fairly well last year when he actually had the opportunity, but this year I have a feeling he's going to have to do it a lot more consistently. So early games, I'm expecting us to be able to get a couple first downs and then flip the field with the punts, and then put our defense in great field position consistently. And then hopefully halfway through the season, all of a sudden we're getting into that red zone and we're scoring. And now all of a sudden we're extremely competitive in every single game. And teams all of a sudden have to wake up and realize, like, oh, we're playing the Raiders. They are a tough team. And hopefully that's what the season becomes, is the Raiders are a tough team to play again.
Yep. That's what we're missing. Because I bet a lot of teams the past few years be like, oh, it's the Raiders. That should be easy. Can't do that anymore, especially at our home games.
We're going to play the Raiders this week, so why don't we fire our head coach and hire this high school coach to come in and coach our team this week. Oh, and then Carolina's coming in. Yeah, we're going to bench our number 1 prospect so we can put our backup, the Red Rifle, in and kick your guys' ass this week.
Yeah, or Chicago with Tyson Bagent. Or the Rams. Bring in Baker Mayfield 3 days before the football game and start him, and then he kicks your ass.
Yeah. What part of that has anything to do with the inept offense? I think that has more to do with the inept defense, right?
I still think it's a balance. I mean, definitely the defense needs to get stops.
Yeah.
And that's something that they haven't done. A lot of people want to blame the offense, that the defense is always on the field. Well, the defense doesn't always have to be on the field if they can get 3 and outs.
That is true.
Yeah.
How many games did they get driven on in the first half? Plenty of them.
3 specifically where we kicked off the ball and the other team drove down the field and scored. And it took copious amounts of time off in the first quarter. And in the second quarter. The Eagles game, the Chiefs game, and the first
Indianapolis
game. Indianapolis did the same thing to us, but I think it was their second drive. I believe, don't quote me on that, but I think it was their second drive. They got the ball and then went chop down the field.
Washington did the same thing, second drive.
Yep. So to say the offense left you out on the field all game, nope, you left yourself out on the field all game.
Yeah. No, there should be no question about it. Our team hopefully was extremely lacking on both sides of the ball. Brought in new
coaches, in turn scares me about what I saw on Thursday night.
With the man coverage and
with the 15 for 1,525 yards, 3 touchdowns. And we never had them in negatives. When they were negative behind the sticks, they were always 2 plays first down, 3 plays first down. It didn't matter. They were getting first down. They were just chunking first downs. And it's like once they got to the 45-yard line, I literally, when I was watching the game the other night, I was like, okay, guys, this is where you get them and you get off the... Nope. Just same shit, different day. That's all it was. And yes, preseason, I get it, but it's still the same thing. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. And Kubiak was pissed off in the halftime interview. He wanted the defense to get some stops.
Yep. So now that we're talking about that,
to say it's just a preseason game when they're trying to work on stuff, like you're really making it more lighthearted than it is. Like they seriously wanted to get stops. There's no qualms about it. When your head coach is that pissed off during a preseason game because your defense can't make stops, there's something wrong.
Yeah, which takes us back to the defensive coordinator.
Where
did the defensive? Who hired the defensive coordinator? Where did he come from?
Well, he was already on our staff as our defensive line coach. It
Okay.
was recommended to Kubiak that he interview him by John Spytek.
Okay.
Spytek made the hire. Like, this is everything that we've been hearing is, or not Spytek. Kubiak made the hire. And Kubiak himself said that no, he interviewed him. He liked a lot of what he had to say, and he decided to go with him. He said that Spytek never did anything more than just saying, hey, we really like this guy. We just want you to interview him. If you don't want him, move on. That's fine.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep. And which I 100% understand and I agree with. Also, too, let's add to that potion, that mix is by the time we got Kubiak in the building, solidified, working on putting the staff together, by the time he was able to address the defensive side of the ball, which is probably, 24, 48 hours after he got hired, right? Maybe even before he got hired. Wasn't a whole lot to choose from out there either. So I'm gonna throw in there as part of this recipe is he might have been asked to interview him, but it also was probably at the point where, look, let's see if we can develop something with the consistency of having the same coach. But the problem is, if you do the same thing expecting different results, you're going to fool yourself. So let's just keep it a buck on that, right? So, I mean, in all honesty, I like Robbie Leonard. I thought he was a good defensive line coach, but there's some issues that have cropped up here recently, even with this training camp, that causes me concern. And it's like, okay, well, we can't. I know you're still the same coach, but you're going to have to do things different, right? Make us feel like it's different. Do something different. And is your scheme going to be different? Okay, we'll wait for the scheme to pop up. But in the meantime, the attitude and tenacity, it's the same.
And I wonder if he's taken still a lot from the old Patrick Graham defense still. So that's definitely something we do need to consider. We'll see. We'll see. We got it. We got a young head coach. Got a young head coach. His first time head coaching. Obviously, we know he can call plays. We have, I guess, now a first time offensive coordinator in Janoko, but he's just there to help out Kubiak. So there's that. And now Robbie Leonard, first time DC. Long time, well, not really long time. He's been with the Raiders for 3 years prior to this, so to me, it's hard to tell, but I do agree. The signs are there that some things need to change.
Well, here's the other thing though: is like, in reality, how many of us are actually expecting something like playoffs to happen this year? Like, I would say the majority of Raider fans realize this is a springboard year, something that we need to build upon so we can have greatness in the future. Like, now, don't get me wrong. They're going to do everything they can to win this year. But in reality, we're going to have a lot of issues. We had so many issues last year that we're not going to be able to fix it in one season, one off season. There's going to be plenty of issues that still pop up in this season. And what's going to determine if we have the right coaching staff or not on both sides of the ball is the improvements we see throughout the season. Are there adjustments being made? Are players able to step up? Are coaches able to adjust how they're calling plays to help our current players perform better?
Yeah. BDQ coming in here, poor Coach Robbie on the Raider hot seat after one preseason. I'll be quite honest with you. I can see it. And I don't even think it's with the Raider fans. I think in the building there might be some concern as well with the performance that took place Thursday night. And having said that, yes, and I said it earlier in the show for those of you in the chat that didn't catch that, is, yes, vanilla scheme. Yeah, we're only going to run, we're just doing the basics. It's a preseason game. The lineup is going to be a basic. But the totality of it is, what is the attitude and the tenacity of that defense, even in vanilla schemes, just running basic stuff? I didn't see it. Okay, I didn't. It's because, like, you can tell when a top-notch defense, even their second and third stringers, are literally dusting it up out on the field and making noise. You see what I'm saying? Like team tackling, like the pursuit angles, anywhere from get everybody rallying to the ball to, causing disturbances in the backfield on a regular basis. Maybe a couple popcorn balls, we didn't even get close to a turnover, right? And that comes down to attitude and tenacity. It doesn't have anything to do with, we ran just a basic cover 3 and we didn't blitz and it was all vanilla. I get that. But that doesn't resolve the fact you did not see an attitude. There was no identity in that team. There were some players. We've talked about those players, right? But collectively, all level and guys at the same time, or even the front 7 at any given time, just being nasty and a bunch of a-holes when the ball snapped. That's it. That's all you got to do. Just be an a-hole as soon as the ball snapped. And then we'll take you out the field. We'll let the 2s and the 3s and some, the 58th and the 65th player on our roster get some runs so they got some tape for other teams, or if we want to keep them. So that's fine. But in the meantime, show us something. It's just you preach, we finally get to hit somebody in a different colored jersey. Well, you didn't.
And then 15 for 15 on where's the accountability there? We got to make some stops.
Who are the quarterbacks that went 15 for 15?
Brissett and Minshew.
And
That's
Gardner Minshew.
Exactly. You mean to tell me you can't throw? I mean, when Minshew was on our team, you guys had him throw incompletions in practice. You couldn't do it in a preseason game? At least 1 or 2 incompletions? I mean, it's not hard.
Made him look like we were playing up against Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson there.
Oh, yeah.
They were just dime. I mean, get a stop for love. For Lord's
Minshew's
sake.
getting fitted for his Hall of Fame jacket now after Thursday.
Greatest preseason quarterback ever?
Well, it's not quite gold. It's more got a little chartreuse, a little maize, maybe some burnt spots or whatever.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. But still, in the long, you kind of get the picture. What I'm trying to say is, he's not the second coming of Tom Brady, but yet that we sure made him look like it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, and JP Raider is right. It's way too early to worry about Robbie. This defense is young. It takes time.
Mm-hmm.
Also, to add on to it, before our preseason game was played, what was I saying that this defense is going to look like? They're going to be moving pieces all around. They're going to be having a bunch of different blitzing packages, and our linebackers are going to be playing a big part in our pass rush. Well, guess what? You're not going to see any of that during a preseason game. So, yes, you have this man-on-man stuff and, go show up and hit because you're finally playing against a team that's not your own. But you're also not playing a defense that you regularly practice. How many times do you actually run a base cover 1 in a game?
Yeah.
Not very often, especially nowadays when they have all these different zone blitzing packages. Mm-hmm. So it's just not how football's played nowadays. I understand you want to beat your guy man on man. You really want to see the toughness of the guys you got. But that's not playing the scheme. It's a big part. If you're taking out the coaching from football, you get what happened in preseason.
Yeah.
And it's like Al Davis always said, first you hire great coaches, then you go get your great players. Well, if you're not letting your coaches scheme because it's preseason, it doesn't matter how great your coach is.
Yeah.
Now, on the small details, like the offensive line, that looked great because they're able to practice basics. They were able to communicate. Like, that's going to be regular stuff that they run in any type of system, and that looked great. On the defense, we're going to have to force generate pressure with blitzing packages, and they're not going to do that in preseason. So it's a little too early to get too worked up on it. It's preseason. Wait till week 3 in the regular season.
Yeah.
If our defense
and I'm really not worked up on that aspect of it. Just so my point be clear, I'm not worried about that aspect of it, the schemes and things. That 100% I understand specifically. I completely get that. But even in a preseason game, right, there should be some type of level of intensity and attitude that kind of gives you that spark and that ignition and that feel of where we're going to go. I don't care. The schematics of it in the first preseason game is irrelevant. And you're absolutely right. We should not be doing that, and we're not going to be doing that. And that's really not a whole lot incumbent on the coaches. But at the same time, your defensive coordinator's job is responsible to get them pregame prepared with attitude, intensity. This is what we're going to do. We're going to go out there and you're going to show them what you guys are capable of, okay, as a man, not as a scheme, not as the rest of it, as a man, right? So, and if it's just head-on-head, one-on-one opportunities, beat the guy in front of you. That's all you got to do in the preseason game. Just show that. When it comes to pursuit angles and flow into the ball and the overall flow of the ball, it's like you kind of want to see in preseason everybody hustling to the ball to stop the play, right? And then as the season goes on, sometimes that will tail off. But your really elite defenses of all time throughout the history, even in their preseason games, you would see that kind of semblance, right? It's not so much that they're looking to be extremely successful, but at the same time, they're pushing their attitude. They're showing the identity of who they are as a collective group and how they're going to fight together, correct?
Well,
so
no,
the scheme stuff of it doesn't matter to me.
Okay, so the great defenses where you see the flow of the defense all collecting to the ball, all those defenses keep the ball in front of them. You're not going to see that in a man coverage scheme because the players are pretty much even or they get beat. So the ball's not being kept ahead of the defense. So you're not going to see a lot of
pass
that.
plays or run plays.
Well, that's pass plays. And as far as run plays go, they broke contain once on the number ones, and that was that outside run to Chin's side because he came up. As far as the inside runs, they pursued and filled their assignments, and that there's no holes for Love to go. Love looked like a rookie against our ones.
Right.
Love didn't start tearing it up until he was playing against our twos.
Yeah.
So there is some hope there. They were doing their jobs. They were beating their man. Our D line was taking on the whole offensive line and allowing Walker to penetrate that offensive line.
Mm-hmm. And yes, Walker did have some plays. He did have some. The
second point I wanted to bring up is during Kubiak's interview, post-game interview, he said we played majority cover one because we wanted to see what our cornerbacks had to see some stuff. So they're not even practicing man-to-man hardly at all because they're going to be a majority zone defense in the back end. So already the players are uncomfortable with what they're doing because that's not the majority of what they're practicing.
Okay.
So how are you going to go out there and dominate or show your mano-a-mano when you're doing something that you're not regularly practicing? It's not going to happen.
No.
And I mean, it's a bit. And talk about
not even that. So I'm not trying to push a debate or an argument at all on this because you are absolutely right in the context in which you're saying that. Totally understand all that, but it just, to me, and this is my opinion, that I don't think that they generated the attitude or the tenacity or had that game-like, what you call the game-like speed or any, like the tackling was okay. They made the tackles, except for Walker, put a couple thumps on. That was nice. I was like, okay, that's what we've been missing at the middle linebacker. Check. We got that, right? But from the defensive tackle standpoint, you see what I'm saying? It was like, is the running back getting hit, at least getting hit or touched by the any of the interior defensive line at some point? Now, it's not going to be all the time, and then primarily their responsibility isn't to do that. And I get that. But even if you have a slant or a gap reach, you're still going to at some point get a chance to hit the running back yourself versus just take on the block. And those are just, and that's schematic. They didn't run. I get it. They didn't run it, but I mean, like when you guys played, Duncan, when you guys played and you had your scrimmages with other schools, even in a scrimmage, your intensity level was a little higher than practice, correct?
No, that's not how we practiced at game speed. It was
Okay,
go.
but you had a little bit more excitement in your body. You're gonna get to hit
Oh,
somebody else.
definitely. There's a
Yeah.
sense
So
more
your steps
freshness.
were a
Like
little
this
bit
is what.
quicker and whatnot. I mean, there is a different level. I mean, you can practice game speed as much as you possibly can, but when it's somebody else on
Well,
the other side of the line of scrimmage besides one of your teammates, it tastes different, it feels different, and that's all I'm saying. I don't think, but
you're never gonna get
I'm
that
also
feeling
gonna
when.
pause myself in this corner because yes, it was week 1. Now, when we play next Thursday, we're gonna practice against them in a controlled scrimmage or in a they say controlled scrimmage. It usually gets out of control. But we're going to practice against the Houston Texans, and then we're going to play them in a preseason game. That right there, in and of itself, will tell you that it's like, okay, now I can see the team aspect of that defense coming together. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So that's the part that I'm looking for. That's that absolute that every level and everybody's doing their job, whether they're running a cover 1 or a cover 2 shell or zone dog blitzes or they're running a tight end or a tackle in stunt, those variations and throwing exotic looks and schemes in there. Whether they're doing that or not, I don't care about that in preseason. I really don't. It's just all I want to see is the defensive line is doing their job, the linebackers are doing their job, and the secondary is doing their job and at least making plays on the ball. Whether or not they get the pass breakup or they get the interception, they're still making those plays, and they're all synchronized, right? So as the defensive line is putting pressure on the pocket, collapsing the pocket, the secondary is able to close and keep their leverage on the top end of the routes, and in turn, at some point, an interception or a fumble is going to occur. So that's it. I mean, it's not. I'm not thinking outside the box. It's just what I'm looking at from a totality of is. But at the same time, and you mentioned it, is the way that they played in that preseason game actually the way that they're practicing, right? At that speed, because to me the just the flow of the defense just. And everybody, trust me, I'm not jumping off the bridge on this. It's just I understand it's a lot of new pieces coming together. It is, but at some point, it's just like, just fucking hit somebody. That's it. Just hit them. Get off the field. That's all. And you keep coming like this. I mean, I absolutely 100% understand. They put 27 points on Houston. You know that they'll probably put 27 points on Houston, but it's going to be a 30-27 type game, right? Because Houston's going to get their licks as well. It's just a preseason. I don't ever take into consideration the score when preseason games come around. I really don't. But at the same time, it's kind of like that visual thing. But the cool thing about everything that I've said and my stance on what I saw on Thursday night is that now when we go into Houston, I can watch the game and go, okay, they identified it. It's now we know that they saw what I saw or what you guys saw or of any of that. But it is going to take time. It's going to take time to build this defense. So I'm going to go mute, let you guys have some fun.
So Ryan Tamale's coming in saying McCoy looked pretty horrible. I was excited about him, but it was sad seeing him play. Yeah, I was pretty depressed with his performance, but another thing is, like Kubiak put it into perfect words, is Kubiak was so proud of him being able to get onto the field and playing because that was his first time on the football field against another team in a game scenario in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's going to be an extreme amount of rust. Like, how many times in the NFL have we seen pretty high caliber players go and get a serious injury and then they're gone a whole season, and then when they come back they don't look the same? They look slow or sluggish or like they're always half a step behind. Like, it's going to take time for McCoy, and the Raiders are doing right by him and bringing him along and practicing him with the 2s and the 3s to make sure he's ready. They're not going to force him into a situation where he's really going to have to force his body and then he winds up getting injured again. They're going to make
that's
sure he's ready.
that's the last thing that I think they want to happen, because McCoy has the skills. He has the mentality. We're baby stepping him, kind of like in the same way, but not in the same way we're doing with Mendoza and Cousins. We want to take baby steps with these guys, because if we throw them into the deep end right off the bat, we're risking them to injury. We're risking their mental levels.
Nope.
Like, oh, I can't play. And football is a mental game. We all know that. And if they're gonna run up a string of bad games, bad performances, who knows how that's gonna build this kid's character? He's coming out of a devastating injury. He's worked his ass off to get back on the field. He's shown that he could be on the field. Take the time with him. Let him build his confidence back up, because confidence is key.
Yeah. Business Decisions came in asking what scheme did our defense run in this preseason game. They ran predominantly a cover one defense, base cover one. So it's man defense on the back end with a one safety over top. And Kubiak came out and said in the presser that they ran cover one because they just wanted to see what cornerbacks can do what in man coverage. So to me, that's saying that they don't practice man coverage a lot, and they wanted to see it against another team, how their guys did, so they can get a feel on, is this something that we need to just stay away from for now? Did you want to input anything on that, Jason or Chris?
I think definitely one thing that kind of popped into my mind is the mentality of the players. Sure, rust. We could also say Arizona had an extra game to get their mentality right. Did our players just come mentally like, oh, this is a preseason game, we're gonna take it easy? I mean, I'd expect my players to go out there to play like it's a regular game. Sure, we don't want to get our players hurt, but this is still rehearsals. You're going to want to play like you still deserve to be on the team. Let's just say we throw out Maxx Crosby out there and Max plays like horrible. This is hypothetical, by the way. I know he's not going to play horrible. He's going to give it 100%. But what if he just starts playing like he doesn't deserve to be on the team in these preseason games, and there's someone out there that's just outperforming him like crazy? I want our guys to mentally go out there and be like, hey, my job could be on the line at any moment. Let's show up. Let's make the right plays. Let's show that I deserve to be on this team. Mm-hmm. And obviously, yeah, cover one, base defense, man-to-man coverage. Okay. We need to be mentally prepared. Is this due to coaching? Is this due to our coordinators, or is this on the players?
It seems like with them going in with the plan that they were going to do cover one because they wanted to see what the players had. It's mostly on the players, but again, there's no scheming involved, so that was the plan.
Right.
The cool thing about everything that I saw with what we have going forward is the young guys now have game tape. Mm-hmm. They have game tape to where they can actually see themselves in a game time situation, not necessarily a practice or drill, reviewing how they performed in a drill, but yet at the same time have game tape. So that in and of itself is a positive. And sometimes, like what we saw on Thursday night, which, yeah, and obviously, and I'm still going to say I was not impressed. I was not happy with what I saw, but I still have hopium, quote unquote. I'm going to steal your guys' thunder. Hopium. That when we touch down in Houston next week, put our pads on against another team in practice. Yes, I'm talking about practice because it's going to mean something. Those practices, those joint practices mean a ton nowadays compared to what they did before. Is you get in, get the work in, show your moxie against one of the best interior defensive lines in the NFL from an offensive standpoint. But on the defensive side of the ball, you also are going to have to show your moxie and get in there, get your work done. Let them know that we have arrived as Raiders for once. And then when we play the game on Thursday night, do it again. And if that happens, then it's like, you know what? I'm good with what I saw. I'm good with what I saw. And let's go. Right? Yeah. But that's what, as a fan, right? As a fan, not just a football nut, but as a fan, as a Raider fan, that's what I want. I want that hopium. I want to be able to smoke some hopium.
Yeah. Well, there were some positives from this game to take away, too. Mostly on the offensive side, but defensively, I really liked our ones against the inside run. Walker looked just as advertised. So there's encouragement there. There's pieces to build off of for this season. And like JP Raider says, it's been 18 months without playing. So that's what preseason's for, is we got to knock some of these kinks out. And hopefully with the scheme being added in when the regular season comes around, they look a lot better.
And that's one of the reasons why I didn't jump on McCoy when the game was playing. I wasn't nothing out of my mouth, bad mouthing him whatsoever, because just that in of itself, you add that factor in and of itself and what you saw, it still wasn't that bad. It's just a matter of his technique at the top of the stem of that play and maintaining leverage, not losing your leverage on it. And then the one was a push off, but a good cornerback will learn with time, and he's savvy enough to learn the techniques to where when that receiver does the push off, it works against him, not for him, and he'll learn that.
He definitely is going to get a little bit of saving grace with how long he's been out, compared to some of these other guys, but he'll be fine. I think he will be fine.
Yeah, there's too much talent, and there's too much talent, that young man, to turn your back on one preseason. And yes, I know I'm glad that one preseason game, but I hope next week when we do this show, I'm smoking a big old bowl of hopium.
I'm with you there. In terms of hopium, there are some other good young players. Again, it was mostly 3 and 4s against 3s and 4s, but there are a couple that caught my eye. Kean Sloan and Patrick Johnson, I think his name was.
Yeah. But I think he went down with injury, didn't he?
No,
Patrick Johnson.
Brennan.
Huh?
Or Brennan Jackson, I believe, was the one who went out.
Oh, Brennan Jackson
got hurt.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
He just got put on the injured list. I think it was yesterday.
Yeah. And Akeem Massis in the run support was, like I said, 160 pounds soaking wet, and he was not afraid to get in there and make tackles. We don't like to see that with our cornerbacks, but at the same time, you got to tip your hat to the kid. It's like, okay, we know he ain't afraid to get in there. Let's just keep that noggin up. That's all.
And that's something I love. I love about this kid. He's willing to put in that extra grinding work. Just like with how we talked about Besh earlier. He put his name on that block that Washington got that big run. Besh was right there, make that big block. Mass is coming in on the defensive side, not afraid to get his hands dirty, to get in there to stop the run. I'm loving it.
Hey, real quick, some housekeeping. Duncan, from this point right here, can we start doing a roll call? We got a bunch of new guys in here, some of our regulars that are tapping in, joining us. If you guys don't know, the guy to my opposite of Duncan here that you guys normally see, this is Chris R., the meme lord from the All Aboard Discord. Invited him on here, super knowledgeable guy, fresh back from Germany, and glad to have him in here. You'll see him spotty throughout the season as a third wheel, I guess you can say, a wingman.
Some of you guys might see me in chat as Next Effect 83, but I've actually recently preemptively, if I decide to do this as well, I've claimed a name of Silver and Black Club. So you might see me on here as Silver and Black Club as well.
There we go.
So in the meantime, co-host Duncan, let's do a roll call, brother.
Yeah. So Rosetown coming in, salute. Nice to see you. Also had I'm Not Bueno coming in.
Bueno. Salute, my brother.
And then also had Michael Guerrero coming in once again for the Duncan and Downs 2028. Thank you.
Yeah.
Much appreciated. JP Raiders saying joint practices say more about our team than preseason, in my opinion. No, I completely agree with that. You're going to get a lot more stuff going on because they got to practice their actual system they're going to be running in the games. And they want to see how it's going to go against an actual other team. And the Texans, both on offense and defense, are great for our team to practice against. They got a top caliber defense, and their offense is no slouch either. They got some great receivers. And in my opinion, as far as the whole room goes, they're probably the best room. But yeah, then we also had Furpo coming in saying, has anybody noticed that we just signed another receiver? Last name's Brown. Yes, but like business decision said, it's most likely a camp body. Another guy to come in, put in the work, and let our defense practice against. And I mean, there is always a shot for a guy like that to make the team, but I wouldn't hold my breath on it. And then Michael Guerrero with his constant trade Deuce Gruden. I mean, if we can get a 5th round pick for Deuce, I'd be ecstatic.
I'm just wondering if
I don't think anybody's trading.
If his dad will get mad at us, then.
Well, it is what it is. What's he gonna do? Slander the Raiders on YouTube? Like, oh well. And then Izzy on Wheels. Auburn fan here, getting into Raiders football. Is there anything in Raiders history that feels like the kick 6, Chris Davis 109-yard return of the missed field goal as time expired in the 2013 Iron Bowl? I'm going to leave that question up to Jason. He's got a lot of experience from the greatness of the Raiders.
So going back in history in and of itself, like a closing play like that in Raider history, I wouldn't necessarily say a closing play that went from one side of the field to the other. But we had a play similar to that. It wasn't at the end of the game to seal the game, but it was during the game. And I'm going to reference Chris Harris's punt return, 99.9-yard punt return on a Monday night against Denver Broncos when the Denver Broncos went down the ball in the 1-yard line, touched the ball, left it alone. He was smart enough to pick it up, knowing that it was a blank check. No matter what he did from that point forward, we were still going to get the ball. He picked it up, round down the opposite sideline in front of the Denver Broncos bench, and then it went just like this.
Touchdown, Raiders!
99.5-yard touchdown, Raiders. So,
Yep. Another one that comes to mind is old man Willie. With that
in the Super Bowl. Yeah. I was alive, but I don't remember it. I was still a little too young on that end of the board, but that one is a good one. Rod Woodson's interception on Monday Night Football against the Broncos.
Touchdown! Touchdown!
Another one. And that interception, believe it or not, if you look at the whole context of that season, is what helped turn our season around. Because that stopped the bleeding. We were on a 4-game slide, and Denver was getting ready to score to go up and probably take another win against us to make us go 4-5 at that point. And he picked that ball off down the sideline. And people forget Rod Woodson was one of the fastest men in the NFL throughout the history. He actually ran in the fastest man. I was watching that one time. He ran against Darrell Green and Willie Gault and those guys, and he right there that dude could move.
Yeah. And JP Raiders saying Bo Jackson, Terrell Pryor, and Tim Brown all had crazy runs. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I wasn't watching football when Bo Jackson was running, but Terrell Pryor, I remember the 90-yard
93-yard touchdown. Yeah. To start the game, first play of the game.
Yeah.
Man, that player is a crazy what if. You know?
Yeah. And then obviously Izzy on Wheels can appreciate Bo Jackson because, like he said, he's an Auburn fan. So yeah. No, actually, Izzy on Wheels is one of my friends. He doesn't have an NFL team, but lately he confided in me that he's really starting to buy into the Raiders this season just because of watching the show and seeing us talk. That he's actually, I think he said he went and bought a jersey.
That's where it all starts.
Yeah. So hopefully we can keep going on and keeping him entertained and have him really buy into the Raiders and
If I may
actually
say,
give him an NFL team.
if I may say, you will not find a fan base that is more welcoming, more loving to their own than the Raiders, because there's only one nation.
And that's a Raider Nation. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah. Dwayne Harris ran a 99-yard. Yeah.
That's the closest play, because I'm putting it in, I'm correlating it with the special teams aspect of it, and just a play that you wouldn't expect, you know?
Yeah.
Because that Iron Bowl, that return kick in the Iron Bowl was the same thing. It was like, you don't really expect something like that, but then when you look at the whole totality of it, it makes sense. Put your fastest guy back there on a long field goal. If it doesn't make it, you catch it, run it. You're playing with house money at that point.
I think he's more gone for like the energy, like of the end of the game, the bigness of the last play of the game where it just turns around. Plus, you got to remember that Auburn play was in Auburn against their most hated rival, Alabama. And it's as the time counts down to 0, this happens. Like that energy to close out the game. I think he's going for that like big energy, ends the game, celebrating all the way to your walk to your car. Everybody's blaring their horns as they're trying to get out of the parking lot, and like the whole ride home, it's just you're on a high, you're on cloud 9, like that kind of feeling.
Yeah.
Which if I
historically
wasn't alive for it, but would you
Holy
consider
roller.
Ghost of the Post? Was he
Holy
that
roller.
play? Holy roller,
because that
Holy
closed the
roller's a
game.
good
Just to put it, using everything that you said as far as the prompt for that, would be the Holy Roller, because that closed the game. Get your big butt off the field, and he does. Get your big butt off the field, and he does. Holy Toledo.
Another, Ghost of the Post. That's a good one.
Goes to the
Another
post.
one.
There's a lot of good ones in our history, and there's gonna be more, guys. There's gonna be more. I really feel.
I want to bring up one more, and I think this one is definitely an important one that I think we should bring up more, is Michael Huff's interception against Houston on the eve of Al Davis's passing to close the game.
Nah.
That is just
Emotionally, that was awesome.
Yeah, because it was for Al.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I believe you can watch that actual play with Hugh Jackson's commentary on YouTube, because I think Hugh Jackson did a piece and somebody put together like Hugh Jackson's whole thing on Al Davis and how much he loved them, and then they combined that play. I believe that's on YouTube, and you can look it up. Just look up for the Michael Huff Al Jackson game, or Al Davis game. Sorry.
Yeah, another one to throw in there too is the Seth Roberts cross the middle against Tampa Bay walk-off touchdown, where he split 2 defenders in a collision and then took it upfield the rest of the way for a touchdown as well. That was one of those let's get our ass on the plane and get the hell out of here. Game over, set, match. Game after Al Davis passed away, that's another one. There's a lot in the history of us, and there's more to come, guys. There is. We're gonna, especially with the Mandalorian as our quarterback.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna see some stuff like that.
Chandler Jones.
Oh, the reception he caught from Jacoby Myers. That was more comical than anything. It was like, are you kidding me? That's something we would have done.
Yeah.
Throw backwards and to an interception that cost us a game, let alone a Bill Belichick coach team that turned around and did it. And it's like it was only fitting. That play was only fitting.
And then what's crazy, he comes to us the following season and balls out for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yep.
I
Save
remember.
hands was another.
I got one. It was the Patriots game. Jacoby Myers threw the ball backwards, and our defensive lineman caught it and ran
That's
it
what we're
in.
talking about.
We were just talking
Oh,
about
was it?
That's what we're talking
sorry.
about.
My bad. I'm looking at the chat and trying to think, but I turned my ears off.
That's Seth Roberts one. That's Seth Roberts
Oh,
one.
I didn't know you wanted to get involved with the discussion, Mr. Helper.
Yeah.
That's,
The other
your
one that
brother.
kind of sticks out in like somewhat recent memory was Derek Carr was still our quarterback, and we had the 3 or 4 repeated plays in the end zone. Like the first one, we caught the touchdown,
yeah.
then there's a flag, replay, threw it again, missed it, but then
Yeah,
there was
Kansas
a flag
City
on the
Monday night game,
defense.
yeah.
Yeah,
Kansas City.
and it was pretty much we just kept running that same route over and over and over again, and then finally we came up with winning the game. It was
Yeah,
like-
we were blessed to have a guy like Crabtree with this catch radius that he had.
Oh my lord!
It was insane. He was a rebounding fool. In basketball, that's all he did. He kind of reminded me of what's that guy that played for the Detroit Pistons and the Chicago Bulls? Dennis Rodman in a
Dennis
football
Rodman.
uniform. The way he played. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He just his wingspan was. He was like what 6'3", but with like a 95-foot wingspan. He could touch both sidelines at the same time. Type wingspan.
Yeah. Need a runway to take off because he's got
Yeah.
such wide wings.
Oh yeah.
The Seth Roberts one, that one was in New Orleans, right?
No, that
the
was
Tampa Bay one.
Tampa Bay in overtime.
But
That
didn't,
was
Seth Roberts also have another one that was in New Orleans that same season? Because I remember that being kind of a big deal because before the game, it was like he's from the area, so his whole family was coming out. He had like almost 20 tickets that he got for his family.
Oh, you're thinking of Jalen Richard,
Oh,
number
was it
30, the
Rashard?
running back. Yeah, his very first carry in the NFL was like a 75-yard smash up the middle, and that guy he was off to the races in no time. Yeah, that was Jalen Richard with that run.
Yeah, Seth Roberts actually had 3. He had week 2 against Baltimore in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Week 12 against Tennessee in 2015, and then the last one was the week 8 one in 2016. And that was I think that was the season setter for that crazy 2016 season.
Yeah. We were kind of that cardiac kid team where it's just every single game just came down to nail biter finishes. It's just one of those seasons where all those one-scoring games would just happen to go our way.
And Jack Del Rio wasn't afraid to take chances on 2-point conversions and short yard at 4th and 1s.
Yeah.
That paid
That's
off. I mean, it
his
paid off. We got those plays. I mean, even though the cards were stacked against us, we still rolled the dice, and it paid off. Because I think we ended up having like 10 games like that throughout the year.
Ryan Tamale's saying it isn't a good memory, but I was at the index card game against the Cowboys where DC fumbled out the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was another one of those games that we got officiated a little different because of who we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well, hopefully that should change soon.
speaking of
What?
Derek Carr fumbling through the end zone, he did that, 2 or 3 times where
Twice,
he's going
yeah.
into the end zone, fumbled it, and it went out of bounds.
Yeah.
Then it's a touchback.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's horrible because those are like, if he holds on to the football, like those plays are like extremely memorable plays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
Instead, they're memorable for other reasons.
yeah, on something that hardly ever happens, and he just happens to have 2 of them.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, the first one that happened though, I think it was against Green Bay at Lambeau Field that he did it, and in instant replay slow motion, it looked like he still had possession of the ball when he crossed the plane.
Yeah, but
But since they ruled it
how
out
they
of
called it
bounds
on
and
the
it wasn't
field.
conclusive, the play stood.
yeah, yeah. Another like energy moment. Wasn't a game winner, but another big energy moment was the Hunter Renfrow punt where he came down and stopped
crash.
from getting the first down.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And just great heads up play. And Derek Carr actually just recently talked about it on his YouTube show.
Oh yeah.
He was saying that it was crazy because in the locker room before the game, just he happened to hear Hunter ask. I think it was Bisaccia, right? Was our special teams guy then? He happened to ask Bisaccia, like, "Hey, if we think they're going to be going for it out of punt formation, like, is it okay if I come up and go for the stop?" And like Bisaccia gave him like a weird look and like, "Yeah," and then like just carried on, like, because there's nothing that was ever talked about, like never practiced, just it was never brought up before. And then just so happens that Hunter asked about it in the locker room before that game starts, and then he goes and does it and makes that stop. Like it just added another level to it.
Yeah. Izzy on Wills coming in with another one too right after Ryan Tamales there. This is a good question for a guy that's new to the Raider Nation. Welcome. Follow up any classic examples of the Raiders getting robbed, like Auburn fans still feel about our undefeated 2004 team never getting a title shot. Probably not to the extreme, but we got plenty of examples. Hang tight. Go, Duncan.
So the most prominent example would be the tuck rule.
Bam.
The next, like, as in recent, where we got robbed was the injury to Derek Carr against the Colts in our 2016 season.
Yep.
And then we had the index card rule, where never done before, never done again since. The refs brought out an index card to split the ball from the chains to call it a turnover on downs.
Yeah. Which
and then
probably still was not a first down.
Yeah. But getting back to the the biggest one, the tuck rule, was the 2001, right? It was 2001 AFC Championship game against the Patriots. And this was the defining moment to launch Tom Brady's career. The Raiders were up. Patriots were on offense. Raiders defense, obviously. Charles Woodson comes in on a corner blitz and sacks Tom Brady. And while he sacks Tom Brady, he knocks the ball loose. And in the replay, you see Tom Brady coming back down with the ball and barely touch it with his offhand. So meaning it should be a fumble. Well, the refs called tuck rule, meaning that the ball was coming forward. So then with the ball coming out is now an incomplete pass.
Yeah.
And the Raiders were the team that recovered the fumble. So that was the end of the game right there. The Raiders get the ball, they knee it out, game over, that's it. Raiders are going to Super Bowl to play the greatest show on turf, Rams.
Yep.
Well, so because of that ruling,
the
refs took the ball away from the Raiders, gave it back to the Patriots, and then the Patriots, going against a Raiders defense that just thought they won it, drove down the field and got the game-winning field goal.
Yep.
So, yeah, in context, Izzy on Wales, just so this helps you out a little bit, because we are officiated different than any other team in the NFL. Point blank, hands down, and evidence is the evidence is out there to support that. All right. So, having said what Duncan said, is that basically what happened was, in real time, it was a fumble. In slow motion, it was still a fumble, if not more a fumble. Instead, what they did is they brought out a rule that was in the rule book that was still misinterpreted at the time to overturn the call. You cannot deny that. There was influence in that decision at some point, and we got screwed. So it was a fumble in real time. It was a fumble in slow motion. You can find the still photo in Google of it with both hands on the ball, and he hasn't been hit yet. Doesn't mean that right there tells me he's not tucking the ball, or the ball is already stopped and he's no longer a passer. Therefore, that was a fumble. So that's it. Plain and simple. I know it's 23, 24 years later, but it's still, to this day, is still a fumble. And even our current part-time GM owner, he has a hard time admitting it. He won't admit it, but he still has that. Well, and to Duncan's point, had that fumble remain intact, we're kneeling on the ball to kill the clock to win the game. That the cards were stacked against us anyways, weather, travel, seating position, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Had we won that game, the Tom Brady legacy probably would have never happened. Because I can guarantee you, Drew Bledsoe would have been the starting quarterback the next season.
Well, I'll also say this. The Raiders' history could have been completely changed from that point, too. Because after that game, John Gruden, our head coach, got traded to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who we went and played against in the following Super Bowl and got absolutely destroyed by, because we were still using his playbook in the Super Bowl. So we make it to the Super Bowl in 2001 because that penalty or that officiating call never happens. Like, our history from that point on could be completely different than it is today. Whether it's better or worse, trophies. But I mean, that's possible.
2 more trophies.
I definitely think at minimum 1, because we would have won in 2002, hands down, because there's no John Gruden on our way, because he still would have been our coach.
Yep.
2001, there's a debate, but I still think the Raiders were the better team over the Rams, and we would have won. But that game never got played, so we don't know.
Nope.
Yep. And Izzy on Wheels, just so you know, there's a bunch of other plays. There's another play called the Spike Rule game. I don't know if you guys remember the Spike Rule game. You guys might have been around. Where we were playing the Chargers, and Vincent Jackson caught a 20-yard slant for a first down. As he goes to the ground, nobody touches him. He gets up, spikes the ball. Nobody touches him. Raiders jump on the ball because he was never down, right? So, but he spiked the ball, and then all of a sudden, and it took the officiating like 4 conference calls, 2 phone calls to New York to decide how they were going to interpret that play, which eventually became an illegal forward pass, which was only a 5-yard penalty, so they still got the first down and the ball. Had that not happened, the Raiders jump on the ball, we're killing clock and winning the game.
Yeah. You just can call him Izzy.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks for that.
I had to go back and actually relearn that one again, because that was when I think it was still in high school.
Here's a Charles Woodson one for you. I don't know if you guys remember this one. We're playing Seattle. In Seattle, this is before Seattle had their new stadium. They were playing at the Washington Huskies Stadium at the time. And we're playing up there in a downpour deluge, right? Ricky Waters busted, man. He's in the open field. He's trucking. But good old Charles Woodson comes flying up from behind, pokes the ball out. Ball goes rolling towards the end zone. Now it's a free for all for the ball, right? Anthony Dorsett, was it Anthony Dorsett or Pope? Might have been Pope. Jumped on the ball, but the field was so wet, it was like a slip and slide, right? He jumps on the ball at the 2-yard line, but slides into the end zone. He's got no control of stopping himself, right? He's at the mercy of hydroplaning, okay? Into the end zone. Recovers the ball, maintains possession. They touch him down in there. Safety. What the fuck you mean safety? What are you talking about? Oh yeah, he had ample time to get up and get the ball out and run the ball out. He chose to stay in the end zone. He fielded the ball in the field of play, but slid into the end zone and made no football maneuver at that point. So therefore, we're going to call it a safety. You know how many times I've seen the exact same thing happen in college and high school football and professional football, and it be called a touchback possession to the defense? That's the only time I've ever seen that called. Yeah. Only time. And it was like, are you kidding me? We're getting raidered like a mofo on this call. Totally 100%. And it happens. It happens a lot of times. I mean, there was one year Bruce Wilkinson got 6 holding calls on one drive. We went from first and goal at the 8-yard line to 3rd and 70.
Yeah. Yeah.
Al pissed off the league.
He did.
Gonna give a quick apology to Ardell, not trying to ignore him.
Yep.
He's got a bunch of stuff that popped in, so we're gonna knock out some of this for him.
Yeah, let's get him
Does
going.
AOC make the cut? One word answer. Yeah.
Yes.
He makes the cut, yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Tom Brady sits on a throne of lies. Absolutely. Starts with the tuck rule. How about the refs giving the Patriots extra time to clear the snow for the field goal? Yeah, that was another thing with that game that gets overshadowed because of the tuck rule is the Patriots, I believe, called a timeout, and then they were out on the field kicking the snow away for their kicker to make the field goal, which I believe is actually in the rule book as an illegal maneuver. But
you can use
wrong.
you can use physical body parts to clear snow. You cannot use instruments. So you can't like bring shovels or plows or anything like that. And then the players that are on the field that are going to be in formation, they can make those adjustments. It still it still plays out even to today.
Yeah. And then that 2002 Super Bowl that we lost to John Gruden, the day prior, our all-pro center couldn't be found. He didn't show up until just a couple hours before kickoff, right? Because he was in Mexico celebrating because he had such a mental breakdown from all the pressure of making that Super Bowl and playing against his old head coach.
Yeah.
That he somehow envisioned the Raiders won. So he truly thought they won and started partying and got on drugs. Yeah. And so he was in no shape whatsoever to play.
Yeah.
I mean, we're lucky he even showed up for the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with your story with that, the fumble out of the end zone.
Yeah.
But yes, 100% Al pissed off the league. And that's pretty much all he did as an owner was constantly piss off the league with things that he wanted to do, and he was going to do them, and the league wasn't going to stop him.
No.
Another more recent one that went against the Raiders was our last playoff game against the Bengals.
Oh, yeah.
The inadvertent whistle. That is the one and only time I've ever seen an inadvertent whistle like not count. They continued with the play and called it as if the play continued without the inadvertent whistle. That's the only time I've ever seen that happen.
And for the integrity of the game, maintaining that is if it was, and they watched the replay and they confirmed it in replay that the whistle did blow, right? But their excuse was, well, it wouldn't have affected the play anyway, so we're just going to let it stand. The hell it didn't. You saw them all stop when they heard the whistle.
Raiders stop because of the whistle.
I mean, Burrow didn't even get his head knocked off because they stopped. They still had a chance to. They still had a chance to take him out.
And was that on a 4th down? So that would have been turnover on downs.
It was either a 4th down or it would have put him into an obvious field goal situation because it was a long distance or it was a long down and distance where if they would have went for it on 4th down, it wouldn't have. The odds would have been against him at that point. But it did come down to being a major factor because of how much we lost by in that game to the eventual AFC champion.
Thanks for stopping by, Furpo. We appreciate you watching. Have a good day at work and make it home safe.
Be safe. Go Raiders, baby.
And then he also put the Patriots did it in the 80s before, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Snow for the kicker.
Yeah, they actually used it. That's where the instrumentality rule came into play because they actually, one of their groundskeepers actually drove a little 4-wheeler with the snow blower on the front of it, and he went out there, and what the referees thought he was going to do was just clear the line so they could see the lines, but he made an arc in a perfect position to where the field goal kicker was going to place the ball.
Yeah. There was also a snow game. I think it was us versus the Steelers. We were playing at the Steelers, and the Steelers' tarps to keep the field heated magically didn't work for the game. So they're
the Raiders
playing on a sheet of ice.
Yeah. just on the
Are we
Raiders
talking?
sideline.
Are we talking about the immaculate reception?
It might have been that game. It might have been that game. But that was
There's
also the game that Pete Rozelle met with Al Davis down on the field and said, well, the weather's the same for both players or both teams. And Al Davis looked at Pete Rozelle and said, Pete, you don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
nah, man. And then I know.
Oh,
during
here's
that
another.
time-
Here's another one. This one, yeah, I don't know. This is when Mike Shanahan was the head coach. Just became head coach of the Denver Broncos. We played them on a Monday night game, and back then the home team was responsible for providing the footballs, and it was clear as a bell. Nobody could hang on to the football to save their life on our team. It literally looked like we had wax or some type of slippery substance, and the players were complaining that the footballs that we're playing with on offense are slippery. Well, what had happened was later on down the road, we found out is a lot of teams would take the footballs before they aired them up and put them in a dryer to take that sheen off, because the footballs come with a natural sheen on them, a slick. The surface is slick, so they put them like in a laundry dryer to toughen them up a little bit, toughen that leather and get that sheen off of it. Well, the Raiders footballs, they just blew them up, and they probably added a couple of inflate gate, not deflate gate, little action. But of course, the NFL said, "Oh, we're going to do an investigation." And 5 minutes later, we're good with what happened. Yeah, because you can actually see in that game, like Harvey Williams, the ball, even when they would play it, the center had a hard time gripping it to snap it. It was sliding through his hands. There was fumbled snaps. There was, Tim Brown went to catch a ball, and he just said it just slid right through his hands like it had something on it. And they were complaining about it at halftime and even after halftime, and it just continued and continued and continued. And then eventually the Raiders kind of adjusted how they were using the balls. And of course, sometimes they would rotate a ball in that would be scuffed up from being played, so it kind of helped a little bit. But yeah, there's so many games that you can just, turn your hat to, and it's just like, we got raided. Yeah. The Rob Lyle fumble in the AFC Championship game. In slow motion, that was 155% a fumble. But they didn't have instant replay back then, and I'm pretty sure with the way we get officiated that they probably still wouldn't have overturned it.
Yeah, let me put my Raider conspiracy hat on.
Go for it.
At one point, if I'm not mistaken, Al Davis was on the refereeing committee, I think, or some sort of rules committee back in the day. Oh, hey, guess who was the head of that committee? If I'm not mistaken, it was Don Shula, the golden child of the NFL at the time. And then all of a sudden, Al Davis gets taken off. Don't you think since then, all these calls against the Raiders are a little bit too convenient?
Yeah.
Especially after the fact that a certain Al Davis won the lawsuit against the NFL for moving the team from Oakland to Los Angeles. So you gotta think that there's some sort of hidden agenda in the NFL that's screw the Raiders whenever you can at all costs.
Well,
Conspiracy hat off.
No, let's keep it on, because I think a glaring like addition to like screwing the Raiders is the John Gruden emails.
Oh my!
Yeah. How does the NFL go from investigating an NFL owner
6,000 emails
that has nothing to do with the Raiders? All of a sudden, while this is going on, John Gruden gets thrown under the bus from the emails that were somehow linked to the then Redskins. All because of I think he was an ex-GM of the Redskins, because they had John Gruden and him had a back and forth. And then all of a sudden, all the Redskin news just kind of got left at the wayside, and John Gruden got left there to get chopped down.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the worst thing is, he was not employed by the Raiders at that time. He was an employee of ESPN.
Yeah.
When all of this was going down, And now all of a sudden he gets this nice 10-year, $100 million contract. He's finally turning the Raiders around. We were actually having some good success that season.
Yep.
Derek Carr was playing like he was his 2016 form. Henry Ruggs was showing that he could be an all-pro. And then all of this happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on top of that, they didn't release all of those emails at one time. They released a piece of an email to the press
to keep
and
the story
then
going.
came back to start it and then backed Mark Davison to a corner to tell him, you need to fire him because if you don't, we're going to release more emails. So he goes ahead and coaches the Chicago game, right, with those emails. And, of course, during that game, that's all they're talking about in the booth, and pregame and postgame national analysts are talking about these emails. And then all of a sudden, lo and behold, Monday, more emails drop, and by Tuesday, he's shown the door. Now, I myself am not condoning what the emails said. They can be taken out of context as what they said for the purposes of racial discrimination or racial hatred. I'm not in those shoes. So for some people, they look at it one way, but you got to consider everybody's emotion and opinion by reading those emails. And having said that, do I think he should have been fired? No. Should he have got suspended?
No.
I would say only the reason why
taken outside the NFL.
Huh?
It was actions he did outside of the NFL.
Right. But and I know sometimes you can throw just a suspension, a reasonable suspension, not a gross suspension. Throw a reasonable suspension. This is what, if I was the NFL, this is the way I would have went, and it would have kept from being such a deluge of conspiracy. Is, hey, we're going to suspend him 3 games pending the outcome of this investigation. Let the story die down a little bit. He served a punishment, and then 3 games later he comes back and we're back rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
As a franchise. And that's the way, because they do that with players now. I mean, they, with Rashid Rice and some of these other guys, it's, well, he's got a 6-game suspension. Well, the 6-game suspension, once he starts serving that, and then it dies down. The story, the narrative starts to die down. And then you can move on. And then the NFL can say, well, we took punitive action against Gruden for an incident that occurred not while he was employed by the NFL, but at the same time was related to the NFL and the integrity of the brand. So we have to take some type of course of action. But as far as eliminating his employment altogether, not allowing him to be a coach, that, and at the time, the sensitivity of and the nature of the topic in and of itself, the NFL was they're going full tilt on all of it because they were already in the middle of getting rid of Daniel Snyder, taking ownership away from him, and then changing the name of the owner of the team to appease certain units of people in society. So, and sometimes when you do that, it comes back to bite you in the ass. And as far as I'm concerned, the NFL took a big L in that whole situation because nothing else came of it, of those emails. And you know what else is funny? Is John Gruden's lawsuit is kind of went silent. Why is that? What's going on? And he's
been having those gaps, though.
Yeah, but
it's been having those quiet periods.
Right. But he's more and more now in the focus. He's out there. And it's like, you can almost tell that he's probably getting close to coming back into the NFL, maybe in the next couple years in some capacity, whether it be a head coach, I don't know. But it almost has that feeling because here's the thing. This is what's going to happen in that discovery is all those emails now become discoverable, not just his. And the NFL doesn't want those to get out because there's probably going to be more emails that are going to be more damning to the brand than just 3 or 4 of what John Gruden did before he became the head coach of the Raiders. And that's where we got raidered is what happened. Because I can tell you this, I bet you there's some emails involving Robert Kraft, from Robert Kraft to Daniel Snyder, that maybe they don't want getting out, or some emails from Jerry Jones that they don't want getting out. And so they're going to fight tooth and nail to keep that discovery from going to the courtroom and everybody to get to see the whole thing spread out. And then it's going to be like, well, guess what, Roger? You're fired.
Yeah. Well,
he's trying to save his job.
Real quick, James Firpo, yes, we did mention the Raiders center pretty much missing the Super Bowl because he was partying in Mexico. But to get back to like the multi-tier policing of the league and like how the Raiders are treated differently, is the Chiefs employ wife beaters regularly, whether it's on the coaching staff or players themselves. Like Tyreek Hill literally punched his pregnant girlfriend in the stomach and still got drafted and no punishment. Like, and people constantly want to hype up Tyreek Hill as a great player, and he's an absolutely piece of shit human being. And he's proven it time and time again, even after he's been drafted, he's a piece of shit human being. But then here you got John Gruden that had private emails back and forth with somebody who was working for ESPN at the time and not in the NFL. And then he gets suspended, or not suspended, but he basically loses his job because the NFL pressures the Raiders to fire him. And then Ardell added in Greg Hardy. Yeah, absolutely. And Jason mentioned Rashee Rice. And it's just the total, complete, like, just improportionate.
Did you cover the Terrell Pryor one?
No, I did not cover the Terrell Pryor one.
Okay, let's talk about the Terrell Pryor situation for just a second. He got in trouble at Ohio State for taking cash for tattoos, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Did he serve a punishment at Ohio State for that infraction?
No, because he entered the supplemental draft.
But he was put on suspension at Ohio State. I believe he lost his eligibility, correct?
Yeah.
So he is punished by Ohio State and the NCAA.
Yeah.
Okay. So then he gets drafted in a supplemental draft by the Raiders. And then all of a sudden he gets a 6-game suspension for that.
It's like the man got punished once enough. Why punish him again?
Well, hold on. Now all of a sudden, I'll bring up Brendan Sorsby for an example. Now, they didn't come out and say they're punishing Brendan Sorsby for his actions at college, because they're saying we don't do that. If they commit an infraction while a college athlete, we don't impose NFL sanctions or punishments for that. That's a college issue, right? Now, the Brendan Sorsby one is a little bit different because they hung their hat on the fact that he put litigation in place against the NCAA, and then once he was ruled eligible, all of a sudden decided he wants to go to the NFL draft to save face as a supplemental draft. And then on top of it, I believe the NFL said logistically all 32 teams would not be given ample time to make their analysis for a supplemental draft. In other words, they couldn't put together a supplemental draft in time. That's in the memo. You can infer that. So they bypassed that, saying he will be eligible for the 2027 draft, right? Which I still think, in a roundabout way, that was punishment levied by the NFL, because and I know they could put a supplemental draft together in 48 hours. These guys got enough tape on them; they can make their own evaluations quick. It doesn't take. You're not going to sit here and go, well, we've got to give 32 teams a whole month to evaluate him, and we're just not going to have time before the start of the season, and blah, 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 blah. Save it. 32 teams out there already got their book on him. There's probably 8 or 9 that are up in the upper echelon of maybe grabbing him in a 3rd or 4th round selection, and so on and so forth. So you already know that. So you can, on Tuesday, you can say, we'll have a supplemental draft on Saturday for Brendan Sorsby. You guys ready? Ready? Break. All right. Clock is starting. Put your bids in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How the heck did we go from talking about the Raiders preseason football, the ups and downs that we saw, all the way to talking about all the injustices done to the Raiders throughout the years? I might add, we're over an hour and 15 minutes into this podcast, and you know who we haven't mentioned? Or
Who?
We might have mentioned, but we haven't even talked about?
Who?
Fernando Mendoza.
Wow.
Well, we had a new member of the nation that we needed to indulge. So
Right. Helping a brother out.
Yeah. No.
New team member.
First preseason game, Fernando Mendoza goes out, lights it up, looks great, looks like he's made improvements, has done exactly what the doubters said he couldn't do. And we didn't even frickin' talk about it.
Hey, Duncan, let's run through that real quick. You ready?
Let's go.
Number one, what can he do?
Take snaps under the quarterback. Go through
Check.
progressions.
Check.
Stand in the pocket confidently after he takes a snap. But also,
Check.
didn't he have some really great throws in the middle of the field?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, he could throw the ball down the middle of the field.
They weren't just little comeback routes on the sidelines?
No back shoulder throws.
He did throw one back shoulder fade. He
Just
did
one.
throw one.
Just
He
one.
threw one, and it should have been a pass interference.
But
Yeah.
Because in 49
Again,
states, that was a
one.
fucking felony.
one.
He did throw one.
Just one though, but all
Just
of his
one.
other throws.
Yeah, just one.
Also made some great plays by throwing the ball away.
Yeah. He did throw a hospital ball.
He did
He
throw
did
one, yes.
He did throw a hospital ball.
Luckily, it was to our 6'3" running back against the DB. So,
Yeah. And if you watch the play over again, the hit looked worse than what it actually was. It's the
Yeah.
mere fact it knocked the ball loose. Good thing is the ball went down to the ground and not up in the air. And there's some context to that play in and of itself that kind of worries me a little bit in and of itself, the whole play in and of itself. One, he probably shouldn't have thrown that ball, but two, I think the receiver that was on the outside should have got upfield a little bit faster before the crossing route occurred, because if you watch when the play occurs, it's like the receiver and the running back are a little too close to each other. So it made it easy for that cornerback to come off of him and make that hit on the crossing route.
yeah.
Just the angles and stuff. Because if you go back to when Tucker caught his out route and turned upfield for a nice gain, if you go to that play, that's how the design of that play is working. On the opposite side is your ex-receiver is getting upfield as fast as he can, clearing out. He's got to buy that cornerback. He's collecting that cornerback, taking him with him to clear that space out, and then the out route is basically all that player has to do is run upfield, get that defender to get back on his heels, and then make an out cut, and he's open.
Yeah.
So
Was there anything else on the checklist?
Could take a hit.
couldn't take a hit. Not at all.
He took a hit. I think he took 2 hits.
Here's one. Refer to my short on my YouTube channel. If you subscribe to my channel, go to my shorts list. I posted a couple Dan Orlovsky specifics because that dude, the other day before the preseason game, they asked him, "What are you looking for?" I'm looking for him to be able to do this. Oh, and I want to see him be able to call an actual play in a huddle, something he never did in college. Brakes come on. Excuse me, what'd you just say? Never called the play in a huddle? What are you talking about? Did you watch him?
Apparently not.
Apparently not, because I can specifically remember hundreds of video shots throughout the college season of the sky cam looking down into the huddle as Fernando Mendoza is doing this, calling the play. Now, was the play as convoluted or as dialogued as what he would in the NFL? Probably not. They're not gonna run
what college quarterback is calling that?
Yeah, they're not gonna. Yeah, they're. You don't have the time with college quarterbacks to teach them to give a 2-paragraph dissertation in a 30-second huddle. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Just all I want to say about Dan Orlovsky is no one should take him seriously. The dude is a failed NFL quarterback. What is his claim to fame? Running out of the end zone. And what gives him the authority to speak about what a quarterback should do and what he's looking for? Well, the only thing that Mendoza should be looking for in terms of advice is the minority owner of the Las Vegas Raiders, who, he might be considered the greatest of all time. Orlovsky eats shit.
No.
Yeah. But we talked about Mendoza. He had a great first preseason.
Oh, you're not done talking about him?
We're on.
I could go on for days. We got 2 more. I don't have to be in bed for another hour.
I got to be in bed. I got work tomorrow.
I know.
But
I'm just kidding. Usually we try and push this to right about the 2-hour mark, ladies and gentlemen. You guys, everybody that's been in here has been great. I haven't put the poll together for Super Chatter for tonight. You want to do that, Duncan?
Yeah, I can throw it up real quick.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring on, let's stick to 3 this time. I don't think there was actually 4. There was 3. We're going to put a poll up on who our Super Chatters were today. Those who brought the heat, brought the takes that kept us going. We kind of got to pause a little bit. We're only showing 6 or 7 in the classroom right now, but we had 20, 25 people sometimes in the classroom. Good students of it. Want to again thank Chris R. Meme Lord, that guy there, for coming in and helping us out today, being that third wheel, the team player, wingman in this whole process. He's dynamite. His Discord takes are fantastic. Not only that, try and give him a little taste of being on this side of the YouTube world, and hopefully someday he steps it up a little bit, and you never know, you might see him rocking and rolling on his own channel one day.
We'll see.
Yeah, I don't need no competitions.
What I talk about, I'm going to be working with you.
Huh?
I'm going to be rallying your coattails.
I tell you what, man, when in doubt, I'd bust out the professor, man. Because sometimes the professor will just say, you might not like it, what you have to hear, but you got to listen. So tonight's chatters we're bringing in, Ardell, Izzy on Wheels. Izzy, we will start calling you Izzy from now on. JP Raiders has great takes, business decision, BDQ, most definitely, man. Thank you, brother, for coming in. But yeah, in the polls, we need at least 7 or 8 people to vote on this. All right, to make it count. Alex, you've been the winner before. Rosetown, step it up, man. Let's go. I know Alex probably came in a little late, but nonetheless, he's one of the better ones in our chat. I'm not Bueno Rorschach. I don't know if you guys are still listening or in the chat with us. But you guys too, you're always going to be in consideration, honorable mention for our Super Chatter for the night. But in the meantime, we're going to run this for 2 minutes. 2 minutes on the clock. And let's see who's got what. So, let's get back, kind of wrap this show up just a little bit. Chris, what you got going on, brother? What's new and exciting in your world?
Nothing much, really, other than still trying to acclimate myself back to the North American weather and time zone, because it was totally different over there.
You want to share where you were?
Oh, I was in my mom's hometown, northwestern part of Germany. Probably like 45 minutes away from the Holland border. We took a trip to the Bavaria region, which is the southeastern, give or take, part of Germany. That was an 8-hour drive, so we spent a week over there, got to see a lot of the castles there, ate some Bavarian cuisine, drank a lot of damn good beer.
Yeah, they make good beer over there, don't they?
The greatest beer in the world, and I'll fight you. But it was nice. Really humid though. Man, it was humid. We were living in an old house, and that house has no air conditioning. So we would get these like random showers out of nowhere, and then after that, it just heats up. It's just like you're sweating buckets, man.
Yeah.
But I miss it. I want to start saving so I can go back in a couple of years. So
That's good. That's good to do stuff like that. I'm not a big traveler, so, and really, in all honesty, being part Irish, part German, Scandinavian, I guess whatever my there's only five. I only have five things in 23andMe, but it's like Irish, English, Scandinavian. I know my name comes from the Irish. The potato famine era, our name was pretty popular. It was actually spelled Downes before it came
yeah,
to the United States and changed, and then incorporated into some of the not so beautiful parts of the United States. I know, trailing back, my mom actually did some Ancestry.com for me on my dad's side of the family, and you can see that there was really no when you from a societal standpoint, our family really didn't have much to work with,
right.
you know. So, and including up to with my dad's, you know, with my grandmothers and my dad and his brothers and sisters. I mean, they lived on the side of the road out of a car for 2.5 years, living under overpasses and stuff like that with 8 kids. Can you just imagine that?
See,
It's insane.
my dad is the youngest of 13, but he's from Mexico. He got his citizenship serving in the army, in the United States Army.
Yeah.
So
So what you got going on, Duncan, this week?
Work.
All right. Is
I'm
Skylar
not
ready
ready
for the NHL?
No. She's probably not going to be doing hockey because she wants to do dance, and both are kind of expensive. So
Got to
we're
choose
sticking to
one.
Yeah. But no, as far as like the bloodlines go and everything, I'm pretty much like 3 things. I'm like half German and then quarter Mexican and quarter Irish. I got German from both sides of my parents, so yeah, not very mixed. But I can say one thing though, Chris. My wife's probably very jealous of you being able to travel to Europe because that's one big thing that she wants to do eventually. So
hey, I would recommend it. It's crazy. Just note that the travel is going to be horrible because 10 to 12 hour flights are not fun.
well,
Yeah.
on top of having a time change too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
I
massive
can't sit in
time
one
change.
spot for 12 hours like that. Ain't happening. I mean, I love you guys, but 2 hours in the same chair is hard enough.
Yeah.
Totally fair. Totally fair.
Yeah.
But anyways, on Raider first downs this week, Friday, Pride and Poise, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Tell your friends. Don't be a host. Share the show. Subscribe to our channels. Donuts Duncan. Tell your friends if you guys can grab our link, throw it in your IG, and share it with everybody. You know, there's more Raider fans out there that want content, want to talk football. Just like the warning said, these are our opinions. These are adult opinions of Raider Nation. They're not absolute, and at no time are they expressly consent or derive from the Las Vegas Raiders directly. They're just merely us being fans, having discussion, having disagreement. Sometimes it can get a little broad and a little boasty, but who cares, right? For all intents, this is all that I ask for those of you that don't like Fernando Mendoza. When he does, because he will become successful with this franchise, take everything you said, put it in your pocket, forget about it. Let's get on the train, and let's all become the way Raider Nation should be. Because it doesn't matter who he is without the helmet on, but with the helmet on, he's something special. I guarantee you that.
Alex coming in with a big one right at the end. JD, look at the history with the Irish and Mexicans. Irish helped the Mexicans fight in the Texas War. They
Yeah.
celebrate Cinco de Mayo in Ireland as well.
Yeah, they celebrate here and in Ireland, but they don't celebrate it in Mexico, which is weird. Because like my wife, she's like, "That's not a Mexican holiday. It's not." I go,
No,
"It's
they
not."
do.
She goes, "No, no, they don't. We
Dia
don't."
de los Muertos.
Yeah, Dias de Muertos, and Dias de Muertos, believe it or not, in their culture, it continues 365 days a year. Is you honor the dead consistently, and this is kind of a might freak you out a little bit, but my wife works for the Turlock Cemetery, right in Turlock, California, and her dad passed away a year ago. He's buried there, and so she's kind of the keeper of. And so every week there are flowers put on his grave by somebody, and it's constant. Every week, somebody's there that visits his grave all the time. In my culture, we visit it once a year because in our culture, they're not there no more. They're here. They're here. They're not there. So, but that's kind of a weird way to end a Raiders podcast, isn't it?
But seems
we're all
like
human.
our newly acquired Raider fan, Izzy, chatter of the night.
Yeah. Congratulations, man. Yeah, but at the same time, we appreciate all you guys coming in. Alex, thanks for coming in. I know you were even a little bit late on the podcast here, but next week, same time, same station, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on a Sunday. Check your calendars. If you like what we're doing, give us a thumbs up, give us a like. Go to our channels, leave comments on our channels. We will get back to you on those comments. Sometimes those comments grow better than what we see in the chat, and they become really good conversations. So just keep that in mind. But on behalf of Duncan, my co-host Duncan's Donut, our guest Chris R. Meme Lord, I'm Raiders First Downs JD, and we will see you next time. Same channel, same station. Once a Raider, always a Raider, and there's only one nation, that is the Raider Nation. Good night.
Cold open, counted out. Yeah, we heard the talk. Cold nights and long losses, still we walk. Scoreboard hurt, but the heart stayed real. Still wear the black, still flash the shield. From Oakland roots to Vegas dust, pain in the season, but we still trust. They say it's over, I say move on, but Raider pride don't ever gone. Show me your shield, hold it high, don't bend. Show me your shield, ride it out to the end. Win or lose, yeah, we still reveal Raider Nation. Show me your shield.
And then there was